Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we are going on a bit of an intense journey using the sources you provided us.
Yeah, intense is definitely the right word for this one.
Right. So our mission today is to explore the completely mind-bending world of ultramarathons. We're going to look into the bizarre history, the superhuman formats, and this growing tension between, grassroots grit and corporate commercialization in the sport.
Exactly. And just to set a baseline for you listening, an ultramarathon is technically any foot race that goes longer than the traditional marathon distance. So anything past 42.195 kilometers or 26.2 miles.
Which, I mean, a regular marathon is hard enough, right? I like to think of a regular marathon as a really tough final exam.
Oh, absolutely.
But an ultramarathon, that's more like, I don't know, defending a PhD thesis while you're sleep-deprived in a blizzard. It's just a completely different stratosphere of endurance.
That is a highly accurate analogy, actually.
Because we aren't just talking about running, a little bit further. We are looking at people who run for 10 days straight, people racing in negative 57 degrees Celsius.
Yeah.
Or, and this is the one that really gets me, running thousands of miles around a single city block.
Yeah, it defies logic.
Yeah.
But to really grasp the scale of these races, we first need to look at the vast spectrum of what even qualifies as an ultra these days, because the distances athletes are covering right now are just mind-boggling.
Right, so let's shatter that marathon ceiling. How far are we actually talking?
Well, you have your common set distances, right? So 50K, 50 miles, 100K, 100 miles. But then you get into the time-based events.
Well, you're just racing a clock.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You have 6-hour, 12-hour, 24-hour, 48-hour races. And then you get into the 6 to 10-day multi-day races.
Wow, 10 days of just running.
Yeah. And the modern titans of the sport are putting up unthinkable numbers. I mean, look at Alexander Sorokin. He ran over 319 kilometers in 24 hours.
Wait, 319 kilometers in one day?
Yes. And then you have Matthew Bond, who ran over 1,045 kilometers in 6 days.
That is, that's driving distance. That's a road trip.
It really is. But then you have the Self-Transcendence 3,100-mile race.
Oh, man, this one. The Queens, New York one.
Yes. So in this race, runners like the record holder, Ashperhanal-Pekka Aalto, they run roughly 100 laps a day around a single city block for up to 50 days.
Okay, I have to stop you there.
Yeah.
Because I keep coming back to this 3,100-mile race and just questioning the sheer psychological torment of it.
What's intense?
I mean, it's literally like being a human hamster in a wheel, right? You aren't even getting the scenic reward of, like, a mountain trail. You were just staring at the exact same Queen's Bodega 5,000 times.
Yeah.
How does the human brain even process that kind of repetition without breaking?
Well, it comes down to this concept of self-transcendence. By completely stripping away the changing scenery, the race just becomes a pure, unadulterated psychological battle. Because at these extremes, the mind is honestly doing way heavier lifting than the legs. Yeah, I mean, the boredom is the actual obstacle. If your brain can't habituate to that sensory deprivation, you're going to quit long before your physical body gives out.
That makes a lot of sense. So, okay, if the mind can handle running around a city block for 40 days, what happens when you take that exact same desire for extreme endurance, but you drop it into the most unforgiving environments on Earth?
Right. That's when you get into the logistics of survival, because the formats and terrains completely change the nature of the sport.
Yeah, like contrasting that single-loop track race in Queens with the self-supported stage races you found in the sources.
Exactly. Look at the Marathon des Sables, a 250-kilometer, 6-day race straight across the Sahara Desert.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and runners have to carry all their own food and gear in a backpack the entire time.
In the Sahara.
Yes. Or flip it to the extreme cold, the Yukon Arctic Ultra, where temperatures can literally drop to negative 57 degrees Celsius.
Okay, so this is where I need to push back a little.
Go for it.
Because at what point does hauling your own food across the Sahara or, braving negative 57-degree weather, at what point does that stop being a fit race and just become a full-on survivalist expedition?
That is a very valid question, and it's actually something the governing bodies grapple with, because there is a massive overlap with trail running and mountain running here.
Right.
Organizations like the International Trail Running Association, or ITRA, they actually evaluate difficulty not just by distance, but by cumulative elevation and the specific stages of the environment.
So the environment is basically baked into the score?
Exactly. It's a synthesis of running and extreme wilderness survival. Oh, and speaking of survival formats, we have to mention the Backyard Ultra.
Yes, the one with no finish line.
Right. There is no predetermined distance and no time limit at all. You run a 4.16-mile loop every hour, on the hour, until only one person is left standing.
See, that sounds like actual psychological warfare.
It really is.
But, this intense desire to test the absolute limits of survival, it feels like some modern hyper-optimized fitness fad, right?
Yeah. You think so, yeah.
But looking at the sources, this sport actually has these deep, sometimes presidential, and honestly often bizarre historical roots.
Oh, the history is wild. It goes way back. I mean, you have the Spargathlon, which is based on the ancient Greek messenger Pheidippides.
Right, the original marathoner.
Exactly. And then jump to 1963 with the JFK 50 mile. That actually started as a push for national physical fitness by President Kennedy.
A 50-mile run for national fitness. That's intense.
Very. And then you have these crazy early extreme races like the 1911 Mount Baker race where runners literally raced trains and cars to the trailheads.
But the one that absolutely fascinates me is the 1928 Bunyan Derby.
Oh, C.C. Pile's race?
Yes. So organized by this guy, C.C. Pile, is a 3,455-mile race from L.A. to Chicago and then to New York.
Just a casual run across the country.
Right. But it wasn't just a race. He paired it with a traveling vaudeville show.
Yeah, that's the bizarre part.
And apparently, it ultimately became this massive financial flop. But I have to ask, a 3,455-mile race paired with a vaudeville show. Were these early ultras viewed as legitimate athletic competitions? Or were they just, like, traveling circus acts?
Well, it's a bit of both, honestly. I mean, providing historical context here, early extreme endurance feats often straddled the line between sport and pure spectacle.
Because people were just coming to gawk at them.
Pretty much. It reveals a lot about how society's relationship with extreme physical suffering has evolved, We went from viewing it as morbid entertainment to respecting it as a highly regulated athletic endeavor.
Right, the vaudeville circus acts faded away.
Exactly.
But looking at the sport today, it seems like a new type of modern spectacle has emerged. And according to your sources, it has completely split the ultra-running community into two very different camps.
The schism is very real right now.
Yeah, you've got the secretive myth makers on one side, and then the massive corporate machines on the other.
It's a stark contrast. So on one side, you have experiences like the Barkley Marathons.
Oh, Laz Lake's race.
Right. Conceived by Gary Lazarus Lake Cantrell, it is highly secretive. There are no official entry dates posted anywhere.
You just have to know somebody who knows somebody.
Exactly. You have 60 hours to finish, and it involves over 11,000 feet of climbing. And in its entire history, there have only been 20 finishers.
That is just insane. The way I see it, the Barkley Marathons is basically like a secret society fight club that you can only enter by word of mouth.
That's a great way to put it.
But then, on the completely opposite side, you have the Ultra Trail de Mont Blanc, or UTMB.
Right, the biggest trail race in the world.
Yeah, and it's hyper-commercial, especially with their recent partnership with the Ironman Triathlon Corporation. It feels like UTMB is trying to become the corporate, polished Super Bowl of ultra running.
And that partnership has raised a lot of concerns in the community. You have people worried about rising entry fees, the homogenization of the racing experience, and really the bulldozing of smaller independent events.
Yeah, because it prices out the everyday dirtbag runner who just wants to be in the mountains.
Yeah, exactly. What you're seeing is the soul of ultra running currently caught in a tug of war.
Right.
On one hand, you have the desire to maintain its raw, uncommercialized grassroots origins. And on the other hand, there's the push to embrace the financial backing and global visibility of these mega events.
Which is inevitable when a sport grows this much. But whether you are running a secretive race in the woods of Tennessee or you're in a heavily sponsored mega event in the Alps, the stakes are incredibly high.
Very high. The consequences of pushing these physical limits are severe.
Yeah, and as the sport has grown, those consequences have really forced governing bodies to step in with some rigid rules. Let's talk about the dangers and the technicalities.
We definitely need to address the serious dangers. A tragic example from the sources is the 2021 disaster at the Yellow River Stone Forest Ultramarathon in China.
Right, that was devastating.
It was. 21 racers died from hypothermia when severe weather suddenly hit the course.
Oh, man.
And that tragedy actually led to the Chinese government issuing a ban on what they deemed extreme competitions.
Which really highlights the life-or-death reality of this sport.
Absolutely.
But then you contrast that raw, terrifying reality with the meticulous, almost pedantic strictness of the governing bodies like World Athletics, the IAU, or GOMU.
Right, the bureaucracy can seem intense.
Intense is putting it mildly. I mean, look at these unratified records from the sources. Ivan Zaborski runs 1,047 kilometers, but he gets disqualified for displaying a Russian flag.
Yep.
And then Sibusi Sokubeka. He loses his 100-kilometer world record because his footwear didn't meet competition requirements.
The shoe regulations are very strict right now.
But wait, I have to push back on this bureaucracy. A guy runs over 1,000 kilometers in 6 days, and he loses the world record over a flag or over the foam in his shoes.
Sounds crazy, I know.
Like, is the bureaucracy losing the plot of the actual human athletic achievement here?
I get why you'd think that, but there is a necessity to this strictness.
Yeah, okay, explain that to me.
Well, when a sport professionalizes and the physical risks are as high as 21 people freezing on a mountain, you need ironclad governance.
I guess that makes sense for safety. But what about the shoes?
Standardizing footwear is crucial right now because of carbon plate technology. If you don't regulate the shoes, you aren't measuring human endurance anymore. You're just measuring who has the best spring technology.
Ah, okay, so it's an engineering race at that point.
Exactly. And enforcing international geopolitical rules like the neutral athlete status regarding the flag that is the only way a global extreme sport can legitimize itself, you have to maintain a level playing field across the board if you want to be taken seriously on the world stage.
So the pedantic rules are basically the price of admission for the sport growing up.
Precisely.
Wow. Well, we have taken an incredible journey through these sources today.
We really have covered a lot of ground.
I mean, we started at the 3,100-mile hamster wheel in Queens, and then we went to the freezing extremes of the Yukon. We talked about JFK's fitness test, the literal vaudeville stage of the Bunyan Derby, all the way to the secret fight club of the Barkley Marathons.
And ended with the hyper-strict rules of modern world records.
It's just a lot to take in. But before we wrap up this deep dive, I know you had a final thought you wanted to leave everyone with.
I do, yeah. It's a lingering question to ponder as you look at where this sport is heading.
Lay it on us.
If the sport continues down this current path of massive commercial homogenization and these pedantic, highly regulated rules, will the true ultra athletes eventually just abandon organized racing altogether?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, will we see a future where the search for the absolute human limit is no longer measured in official races or world records, but in these impossible, untrackable, personal challenges out in the wilderness, completely far away from any governing body?
That is a wild thought, just going completely off the grid to find the limit. Well, that's definitely something for all of you to mull over. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and we'll catch you next time.